This is our Materials and Their Properties title, which is part of the Forwards with Science series for Key Stage 2 Science, although some of the screens are suitable for younger and indeed even older pupils. If we click on here, go back to the opening screen for Materials and Their Properties. As you can see, there are a number of buttons on the page, and I'll show you what some of those do now. If we click on here, we get an information screen. This is version 3.47, published in June 2012, and with a lot of mind thinking screens in addition to the activities, the information activities and other activities. Click here for more information about the buttons on the different screens, and out of there, and out of there, and we'll click on here, an activity on the water cycle, here separating materials, and here an activity on, shall we say, forming sedimentary rocks, and back again to the opening screen. If we click on that one, we open the first screen in the title, Thinking About Materials, a totally open-ended activity at the moment, and what we can do is add a few things to that. Now, before we continue with that, we can talk about the taskbar down here. Predictably, the arrows go back and forth. We know what that one does already. This is the task button, and that tells us what to do. That is the support button and gives us some support with maybe some hotspots on it. That is the research button with more information linked to that. And that is the resource button with labels or pictures or beginnings and endings of sentences, or sometimes all of those. And that will take us back to the opening screen. If we turn our attention back to this now, so if we say, right, materials, I think we have wood there because that is a solid. We can have oxygen here because it is a gas, oxygen. And we can have, I think we'll have lemonade there, lemonade, and we'll say, okay, the oxygen is a gas. So we can bring that up there to say it is a gas, and we can put that there to say that is solid. But there is another way that we can do that, and we can follow the guidelines here to find out how to do that. And what we need to do is, we say we take that one, we click on the cell, we go into here, we go into fill color, and we go into red, and that will now colour that cell red. And we could end up with a lot of words on the grid and a lot of different colours. Incidentally, this is a good one as a homework activity for a Friday afternoon. The children can go and discuss it with parents, neighbours, siblings, friends and so on. Come back to school on a Monday morning with their list and all collate their ideas and have a whiteboard activity. They could then complete the grid and do the colours, put all the words on it, and possibly they will want to print that out and have it laminated and put up on the wall. If you do a print screen and you save that in Paint or whatever as a JPEG, then that's what you'd get, what you see there. If on the other hand you go into that icon there and you click on that, then you would have something quite different, because the background wouldn't print and the buttons wouldn't print, and you would indeed have only filled part of the page because there is more page further on. But that means that there's plenty of room there for the children to continue with the activity, or indeed to put more than one thing in each square and let that extend downwards, and carry on and use this as an activity page. So in effect you've got a textbook and an activity page. Right, if we go out of that one then, and I think I've said everything I need to there, we go to there, facts about materials, and a little bit more there about material particles, and here a totally open-ended screen, but we can add information to it and find out more things to put on there. And another one on thinking, a solids, liquids and gases one, which is linked to a Venn diagram comparing solids and liquids and thinking about solids and liquids in a different way. Measuring the temperature, what the children have to do there is to type the temperature, and that is 60 degrees, so we put that there. And then they can write whether that is a liquid, solid or gas. Here they can do an activity on changing the state of water. That is a totally open-ended screen and with the same buttons as before, so they can complete that and make whatever they want there. The water cycle, here we are, we can add the images to the drawing and we can complete it. And if we're not sure what to do, and we can label it of course, we're not sure what to do, we can go into here and we can click on the different buttons. And once again, importance of water and the importance of water vapour, which is something we don't think of as often. Soil profiles, we'll put them together and we check on there after we've labelled the layers. Here, importance of soil to living things, and maybe this is one where we could number those and then write our reasons further down. Soil under the microscope, a sorting activity, dead organisms, there's something dead there, there's a bit of a wing there, a bit of a leg elsewhere, or the large pieces there and the small pieces there, and so on until we've sorted it all out. And here, soil creatures, earthworm, bacteria, beetle, slug, mole, friend or foe, and the reason for that. Classifying soil particles, decide what might go through there and classify it into clay, sand, silt and loam. An investigation, and then a further investigation or a different activity related to the investigation. And once again, whether they're able to complete the table and write an account on their investigation. And here, they're able to record their results in the form of a graph. Effective particle size, what they have to do there is fairly obvious. Recognising rocks and stones, a good one. Go down to the beach or the museum if the beach is too far away. And you can say, okay, what is that? That is, I think that is marble, and I think that is basalt. And if they're not sure, they can go here and they can check. Was that marble? Let's see, a white or beige rock with darker patterns, yes, and so on. And there, types of rocks, and there, once again, as we were on before, and there's a nice little table for them to complete. Types of rocks, igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary, and what we have here is a nice little support button, different things happening in different ones, and once again we have the information screen, and once again we have the word bank, so we can do the beginnings and endings of sentences in each one. Hot rocks bake, the rocks around them, and so on. And here, comparing rocks, type 1, type 2, forming igneous rocks, forming metamorphic, forming sedimentary, grouping materials, totally open-ended really, but you've got a lot of materials, a lot of properties, and you could be saying here, well, these are made of metal, they are hard, they are solid, they could conduct electricity, they might be magnetic, easily magnetized, and so on. And once again, another way of doing that, and indeed another way. Properties of material, once again, we've seen that sort of activity before. In this instance, rather hard to put a colour-coded grid, but then we can make that up as we go along, and maybe have a colour for hard, and one for soft, and one for flexible, and so on. Properties and uses of materials, once again, we've got associated words, so we look at the one of a glove. What might that be? Well, we can see, I wonder if we have, yes, we have wool here. And so maybe that is to do with wool, and maybe it insulates, and maybe it keeps us warm, and so on. And there we have it. Prioritising, well, totally open-ended, but what we have got here are some words that we may want to use them to help us, and indeed we can add some drawings to the screen as well. Thermal conductors and insulators, and again an associated words. Electrical conductors and insulators, soluble, insoluble, changing materials, reversible and irreversible, separating, and again a word, associated words activity. We think that might be that one. Let's go on to here and see if we are right. Yes, we are, and we click on there, and that gives us a little bit more information. And here we go all the way through that one. Importance of separating. Recycling materials, so this is quite important. The children can write down what they think they should write there, what they should have in each one of the bins. And here we've got, can we complete the table? No, that's a wrong one for there, we'll have to sort that one out. And here, designing stacking wheelie bins. 2 counties in Wales to trial stacking wheelie bins, and here it'll tell us all about it. So what we've got here, these are the legs, and what we do there, we put one on top of the other. But what we've got to do here is think about the actual design of them and the size of them. We don't need all the compartments to be the same size. So if we go on to here, maybe that will, no, that won't help us. Well, try that one, maybe that'll help us. Ah, yes, that will help us, and we get rid of that, and that has told us what to do. What we do now then, we click on that, we go to Other, Object, we go here, and we decide to change that to 8, and there we are. That could be suitable for putting our batteries in. and maybe that one for cardboard, that one for paper, and so on. And we have designed a new one. And here, recycling materials in another way. The importance of recycling. Here we've got a totally open-ended activity. We can maybe put a human in there to say, well, the more humans there are, the more rubbish there is, and the more important recycling is. And then how do we recycle that? How do we recycle that? How do we recycle white goods and electrical items? How do we recycle paper? And so on. Or the children may decide to write here, or write underneath here indeed, on the importance of recycling. Totally open-ended, with a lot of food for thought there. And here we are, back at the beginning again of our materials and their properties.